So after quite a long time of waiting, the new Warzone map, Caldera, is finally with us. In this video I'm going to actually show you my first win on this new map. Let me know what you think, and if you do like, please drop a like on the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell to see all future Warzone videos I have coming up. I enjoy playing quite a lot of solos and trying to produce videos that will give you tips to help you win more solo games, and also tips that can help you just in your general gameplay. So I'm fairly fresh to this map. I'm not really sure where the best places to drop are, where the superstore is of this new map. So for now I tend to just pick a bounty contract and just drop straight out of the air and see if I can pick up a few good kills off the bat. As we are flying here though, so you see someone's already tried to knock us out the air. We're going to quickly go for a chase and see what we can do in return. And we don't want to land right next to this player. He's fully full health and shields, whilst we're left with no shields at all, because if he drops on us we might struggle to defeat him. So we drop in this house. Unfortunately for us, in the first window we do find a pair of plates, so we're back up to 2 plates, and we find a third one here just inside this crate. Of course, as soon as we landed we did instantly check back out the window just in case he'd followed us around. I have a few times, I've played a few plunder games trying to level up different guns, just trying to find what suits me most. I do have a reasonable class with the Automatron, which I'll likely be doing a review of in the future. For now though, our Automatron's actually quite low level. I believe it's maybe mid-20s at this point. So whilst we've got good attachments for it that do reduce the recoil, we don't exactly have the perfect class as of yet. So we find some decent ground loot here. We do have the Sten, which is a very strong SMG, and we also find this NZ41, which is one of my favourite bits of ground loot, as it has good iron sights, good accuracy and good damage. Whilst it's not going to pick people off at extreme long range, it does the job for the early engagements, I find. So now we've got decent guns, we've got a couple of shield plates, we're just going to push straight in and aggressively see if we can kill this bounty. As we do, we see him running out in the open here. Unfortunately I don't get the knock immediately. He manages just to escape round the corner. Thankfully, the bullet penetration on this gun is strong enough that we do carry on tracking where we think he'll be, hit him through the hedge and get that final shot off. We did pretty well there to dodge around and avoid the initial kill. That's one of the things I'm actually really struggling with at the minute with Caldera, is that the guns have so much higher recoil than what we're used to, and also the recoil patterns are very different. They're of course similar to what we saw in Modern Warfare with guns that travel one direction while you're shooting for a certain number of seconds and then turn a different direction as you continue firing. Whereas Cold War, we often just saw the same straight line pattern, so my muscle memory's got used to just pulling downwards, whereas we should instead need to pull left and right as well at different times on the sticks. So I do find here a Volkssturmgewehr, which is pretty heavy damage AR. I have found this ground loot Volkssturmgewehr to be very strong, so I've picked this up to use it as my main gun for now until we get the loadout. For those of you living under a rock and unaware, of course you can't buy a loadout anymore at the beginning of the game, so you have to just proceed with what ground loot that you find and hope you find good guns. You can only buy a loadout once the first one has dropped in, and it drops in just after the close of the first circle. On top of that, a lot of the timings have changed, so circles now close a lot slower. However, the gap between closures is a lot shorter, so the circle is almost constantly moving in on you, with not a lot of time to adjust. So players will constantly be pressed towards the middle, and that massively changes the pacing of the game at the minute. Solos, I'm not sure whether it's a good or a bad thing. Lobbies definitely still seem to die just as they did beforehand. If anything, they die even quicker, as the constant flow of UAVs at the beginning of the game actually leads to more players dying. So So I find the flow of solos is pretty bad, particularly in the later circles when there's 10 players left in an enormous circle, which can be very frustrating. Another change they've made is to the in-game events. So I said about the change to the loadout now coming at the end of the first circle closure. They do also have events that happen every single game. For example, I believe it's Circle 3, every game there is now a fire sale. So whereas previously there used to be a randomised event, it's now always a fire sale at this time. The fire sale lasts for an extremely long time, so this can be very frustrating as it means that every player on the teams will have a self-revive if they've managed to get themselves to a buy station, and most teams will have an advanced UAV. Again, this really ruins the pacing of solos, as so many players die off at this point, due to just everyone knowing where they are. So I think this, in my opinion, should be removed from solos in order to improve the solo pacing, and I wouldn't be against it being removed from all the other games as well. Whilst a fire sale can be handy and quite fun once every, 5-10 games, having it every game is a little bit too much, and I do find it quite annoying. But we'll see what changes they propose to make. So, what do I think of the map overall as a whole? Overall, I like that we have a new map. I've been playing on Verdansk for quite a long time. I will miss it, as I did enjoy that map very much. However, I feel like we could have done with the change, and we do finally have it. As for whether Caldera was the correct placement, I'm not fully sold on this. I know a lot of people like it, as there's a lot more open areas. However, I find the lack of cover from area to area to be quite disconcerting, as you run from area to area and there's not really a huge amount of skill. If you end up meeting someone in the open area, it's more about who happens to have the best cover at the time. I'm also not a huge fan of the design of the map being centered, basically being one huge hill up to the center where peak is. The reason for this is that the POIs, whilst I do enjoy being in all the POIs, like this here power plant and airport, the frustrating thing for me is that all the POIs around the edge of the map, in my opinion, there should be more POIs towards the centre of the map to encourage people to come towards the centre. Instead, there's just peak and then a huge amount of hills around the outside of peak with nothing to look at. This means when you're rotating, it can be extremely boring, as the rotations, all you see is dense jungle, trees, the occasional rock, and that's about it. This gives the map almost like a Battlefield feel, which for a Call of Duty player, if I wanted to play Battlefield, I would go and play Battlefield. I feel like this map might have been influenced by the worry that Activision had around the production of Battlefield, so they tried to be inspired by it. Instead, I think they've made this map just a little bit too open and a little bit too boring. If you don't pick up a vehicle, have one nearby, you're just running across like this here, rock, tree, rock. There's not a huge amount going on. My next negative point about this map is the colours. Whilst the colours are very vibrant and very luscious looking, and I do like that this is a big improvement on the very washed out look that the Cold War Verdansk map had, I do wish that they'd changed some of the colours, at least of the operators, or at least made the foliage a little bit less dense. The reason for this is it can be really hard to track players through the foliage, and it also leads to a lot of players camping in the foliage. As a solos player, camping was already a big enough issue, but now with all the open areas, with the lack of POIs in the centre of the map, and the huge amount of cover provided by foliage, the camping has gone absolutely off the charts. Previously, you could almost half predict the buildings that people were going to camp in. People who might want to defend around a shop, certain POI areas. Instead, now they just camp in a random bush in a random open area. As long as they're within the zone, they don't care. and it's up to you to spot them, and it's near impossible to spot them. I can't count how many solo games I've had so far where I've been on a good game, 10 plus kills, looking, thinking, oh, this could be my first win, could be me getting a lot of kills, but instead I just get killed by a guy in a bush towards the end. Of course, that is almost a feature of what would happen now they've got rid of the heartbeat sensor, because you're not able to now detect these people in bushes, so people are able to camp a lot more, and I think that was people's fears a little bit with the heartbeat sensor being removed and the price of the UAV going up. The high price of the UAV is a good thing, of course, to stop everyone pumping them constantly, but my next point, of course, was going to be money being so readily available. And this event here, as you can see, fire sale happening every game. UAVs are very, very plentiful. And with the change to Ghost, making it so you have to move to stay off the map, it does make UAVs and things very inconsistent, and everyone always has a UAV. So it's difficult to keep yourself off the map. Of course, this change is good for an aggressive player like myself. I'm just speaking in general of the overall COD players, as I know my team, when I play with them, really don't enjoy how open it is and how everyone always seems to have a UAV, as they find it extremely frustrating to constantly be detected by the opposition. But the good point to the map is, with the openness of the area, it is now a lot easier to push people. You can pick people off quite easily, because they often won't have the cover. If you've got the advantage on them, good guns, good positioning, maybe a UAV so you know where they are, you will pretty much always get the kill, as you can align yourself and make sure that you're in the best position. The gun refresh is also very fun. Obviously lots of new guns to level up. It can be a little bit frustrating with how slowly they level up, and I hope that the kinks with leveling up do get resolved. But it is generally fun for people to try and work out what's new and what's the best gun available. Of course, no one currently knows what the meta is until testers go through and work out what exactly the best guns are. Currently it looks to be the Automatron and the Cooper Carbine as of the time I'm speaking, both being extremely low recoil guns. The Cooper Carbine probably has the edge by virtue of having slightly higher damage along with its no recoil, though not by much, as the Automatron is unlocked at a lower level, so a lot more players are using it. Of course here I don't have the Cooper Carbine, as I'm such a low level that I haven't got to that point in the battle pass as of yet. It will be a gun I look to level up in future, though I think the Automatron will be the first gun I do a review on. Anyway, I've spoken quite a bit about the new map. I'm not going to cover off about bugs and things like that. I have run into quite a lot of them. It is a very buggy release, but I'm not going to cover them now, as I assume they'll be patched and fixed in the next few weeks. So I'm not going to cover those off for now. If not, then I might do them as a separate episode. So far we've got ourselves 6 kills. We've been playing pretty smart, just rotating around the map, constantly keeping UAVs going, and just pushing on to the next area. There hasn't been a huge amount of vehicular action, unfortunately. We haven't found many vehicles, which has led to us doing exactly what I spoke about, is running across field after field, tree after tree, trying to get to the next opponent, which is extremely annoying. The vehicles themselves, they're really difficult to control. They're not particularly fast, so I do find them quite annoying. But I'd rather there were just more of them as well, so they're more readily findable. As quite often, when you're looking to do a rotation, there just isn't a vehicle anywhere near you, and this can be really annoying. So we picked up 7th kill there. Another guy just running around the trees wearing a ghillie suit. We saw on our UAV there was someone around here as well, so we're just going to pop another UAV, see if we can see where they are. The UAVs and things take a very long time to deploy as well, which is quite frustrating. But as we do pop our UAV, we see someone here just about to go around this corner, and they do a really nice little drop shot However, we managed to keep track of them, just about. But then when they jump back up, we end up shooting their legs, so obviously performing a really low amount of damage. But we do get the kill in the end, and thankfully that split second where we had the drop on our opponent did make the difference. So we're up to 8 kills. We're just pinging this new contract here. For those who don't know what this contract is and think it looks like a Most Wanted and think I'm crazy for doing a Most Wanted in the 4th circle whilst fully kitted out, this actually isn't a Most Wanted, it's a new type of contract. This is called the Big Game Bounty Contract. So what this does is, it'll ping another player or one of the players with the most kills in the entire game. If you've been pinged by a Big Game Bounty, you can't be pinged by it again. So if the guy with the most kills in the game, who isn't myself, has already been pinged once, it will then ping the second most kills, and so on and so forth. You can be pinged now by both a bounty contract and a big game bounty contract per game. So don't be surprised if in your games you now get pinged by bounties more than once, as this will be the reason why. So we ping this and we see there's a guy, he's out in the forest somewhere, and I put a little marker on him. And lo and behold, he's running around the bushes and shrublands, trying to use them for cover whilst wearing a ghillie suit. Same as every player in this game currently, everyone plays exactly the same, it's all push. Another thing you will have noticed here is that we now have an advanced UAV up. Some contracts, when completed, now give you extra rewards as well as money. So one advantage from the big game contract, bounty contract, sorry, over a regular bounty, is that when you get the kill, you don't just get money, you also immediately deploy an advanced UAV. So on that, I can now see there's a player back here just hiding out in this furthest house. So we decide that with the circle moving, we're just going to cut him out from zone and pick ourselves up an easy kill, which will be our double digits 10 kill of the game. You'll note that earlier I was talking about pacing in solos. You'll see there's still an enormous area left within this game. However, there is only 10 players left in it, which is surprising, so the density of players is very sparse. However, whilst we were hunting that bounty there, you'll see that I did get hit by some bullets, particularly the incendiary rounds, and I continued to get hit by them. Somehow my opponent managed to flank round and get up the hill to my left, which forced me to go onto the back foot and jump off into the little ravine area. Unfortunately for him, he also jumped in there too, which I've now managed to pin him in with the circle on his back. So all I have to do is just wait, let the gas push him out, and he'll have to come out of cover at some point and run directly at me. So a few of you might be wondering how on earth some of those snipes didn't hit, as quite a few of them appeared to be lined up almost directly on my opponent's head. Another thing in this game that I do not like is a concept called bloom. For those of you who don't know what bloom is, it's a degree of randomness they've added to where your shots go. So even if you're lined up with your ADS sight perfectly aimed at your opponent, sometimes now your bullets do not go where you aim, which I think is a ridiculous mechanic for a first-person shooter. If you're lined up on someone and shooting at them, randomness should not come into the equation. It should be whoever can keep their guns on target the longest gets the kill. Instead, there's now randomness to this, which really frustrates me. The Raven have signalled that they are going to remove this, so hopefully that goes in the future. So we picked up 2 easy kills there, and we're now waiting for this guy to self-revive, so we can steal the kill off of the guy who downed him, which we dutifully do so. And we picked up this gun here, which is a Type 100, which is a powerful SMG with good fire rate and good damage. And you'll see here, quite funnily, that it's good that we do, as it actually saves our life a couple of times here. As we come around this corner, our opponent is sat on the corner waiting for us. And embarrassingly for him, we managed to gun him down before he gets us, despite the fact he had the jump on us. The Type 100 there just doing absolute work with high damage, high fire rate, and overall just being absolutely brilliant for us. So yeah, fortunate that we picked that up. I'm actually going to keep it out as its range isn't too poor either. So if we run into someone, we can take them out with this. Although the final circle is very open, there's a lot of foliage, and there's only 3 of us in this circle, so you can tell that everyone's going to be camping, everyone's going to be hiding out. So I decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and flush them out, I'm going to try and run around, see what I can do. And as I come round, I think I spotted someone there, so I'm going to keep pushing around this way. And as I do, a couple of shots come my way. And that's me with one person flashed out, so I know there's someone here. I spot him, I get the shots on him and gun him down, and now it's 1v1 for the win. I don't know where my opponent is, so I'm just trying to spot him, and as I do, I see his body coming through the foliage. And you'll see just how powerful that foliage is, as my opponent hits me with a flash, and we still manage to get behind a tree, and he just can't see us to get the hit. So as we emerge out of there from our flash, we pull out our Type 100 and gun him down with ease. So we use the foliage to our advantage there, and we pick up our first win of Cold War Pacific on Caldera. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode and enjoyed this discussion. If you have, please drop a like, please give me a comment with some feedback, and also please subscribe with the notification bell on. It will massively be appreciated by me and will help grow my channel. And with that, I'm out. I hope you all have a really nice day, and I really hope to catch you on the next one.